Hello friends, welcome to another chapter of Python libraries course for data analysis and manipulation by Slidescope. In this chapter, we are going to learn working with time series in Pandas, and to be particular, we will learn datetime index. So we can parse date at the time of creating data frames when data sets have some columns with date time data. We can also set the column having date value as the index. So now first I will show you some data sets on which we will work for date time index for understanding about date time index. So this is our sample data set in which we will work, and in this data set you can see we have dates here. So this is, in this column we have date. This is data set of house property sales. This is postcode where the property was located. This was the price at which the house property was sold. This is type of property. We have house and units here, and the fourth is number of bedrooms in that property. So we have different number of bedrooms here. This data I have downloaded this data from kaggle.com, and I will provide this data to you. And now let's see how we can analyze this data with the help of time series. So the first thing that I will do, I will navigate to this house properties sales, and now we have my files here, and this is the sales.csv file which we have to upload here. And so I will create a new Python 3 file here, and I will make the name as properties sale or property sales, whatever you want to see. Now first thing we always do is import pandas as pd. Now normally when we create a data frame, we use df is equal to pd dot read underscore csv, and then we simply type the name of that csv file, for example sales.csv here, and this way the data frame is created and we can now visualize this data. We can manipulate and work on this data. You can see it has 29,580 rows and 5 columns. Now the thing is, here we have date. So there is a parameter which is called parse underscore dates, and then in this parameter you have to tell the name of that particular column which has the date values. So you can see in our case the date values are stored in this date column, and you have to simply put it in a list here. So you have to put it in a square bracket, and this will parse dates for you. Now when you will execute this, so you can see we now have the correct format of the date. The next thing is, while creating these data frames, we can also set index as this date. We can do it later also. Suppose our data frame is created here. So now df is our data frame. Now we can use df dot set index, set underscore index, and then here we can name the column. We want to set index as date. So now we can do it this way also, and at the time of, so I will hide this, at the time of creation of data frame we can set index also. So I will show you how you can do that. You just have to write a parameter here which is called index call, and index call you have to write the name of that particular column that you want to set as index. So this is how what we are doing here. We are parsing dates and setting the column date as index of data frame. So we are doing this here. Now execute this, and now when you will run df, so you will have your index set as date. Now when we say that we are dealing with time series data here, so in case of time series we mean that when you have date or time values in your columns, so we call them as time series data. Here for different dates you have data here. So for different dates we can perform analysis, and now when we have formatted this data with the help of dates, we have passed dates here. So now we can filter this data on the basis of date also. Otherwise this column would have been set as an object or a string. In normal case dates are considered as object or string only, but now if you will write df.info, so you will see that what values we have. So you can see we have date time index here. So on 2900 on 29,580 entries we have date time index. So this is what we wanted to do. The goal was to set date time index. So I will insert a cell above. What we are studying here is date time index, and when you will apply info, so you will be able to see that also, that these columns are set as date time index now from 2007 702 to 2019 726. So between these years we have data of sales of properties of different type of houses on different rates with different number of bedrooms. Now if you want to print the column here, if you want to see the information of date time index, what you can do, you can write df dot index. So this will simply print the date time index for us. So you can see in a list here, you can see we have all these dates. So type is equal to date time 64 ns, and the name of this column is date, and length is 29,580, and frequency is none. So the next question is, why do we use date time index? A simple answer is, using date time index we can find data for any particular date as follows. So I will show you an example here. So just write the name of your data frame and then write a square bracket, and in a square bracket just write the date, but the format should be the same as it is used in your data frame, as you can see after changing the data. So let's print the data head here so that we can see the format. Insert cell above. So you can print df dot head. Let's print three values here. So you can see the format is in this format. First we have year, then we have month, and then we have date. So the same format I have entered. Now what we are doing here, getting properties sales data for this date. Now let's see. So okay, now we have this much data here. So on this particular day these properties were sold at this particular price. Now our next task is to get the sum of price for this particular date. So the date is given here and we want to find the sum of total amount of properties that were sold. So for individual properties we know the price here, but what if we have to calculate the total amount that that particular company gained, or whatever amount was gained, the total amount of properties sold. So we have to add all these prices together. First thing, because this is our data frame, so in this data frame the first thing that we will do, we will select price only. For that just put a square bracket adjacent to it, and now here enter the name of column that you want to select. So this way we are saying that for 2019 725 we want to select price. This will give us the details of price, this data here is series data. So this data is series because we have selected one particular column here. So getting data of all prices, or we can see getting series of all prices. This is getting series of all prices. Now just in this series, if you will use a function called sum, so write dot sum just next to it. This is a function, and when you will apply this, so you will see this is the total amount uh, for this particular date, total amount of properties sold for this particular date here. We can create a simple program here. So let's say we want to input date. So date is equal to input and enter date. So input function is used to take input from users, and we will take the input from users and save the input in this date here, in the variable date here, and then we will put date variable here. Now when you will execute this, so it is asking enter date. So for any particular date we can now get total amount of properties sold. So let's select any date from here. Let's select this date. So we want to see for this date also. So now we have created a very simple function kind of thing here. Now when you will enter this and enter, so this is the total here. We can also print this properly. So we can use print function here. So print total amount of properties sold, and then put a comma here, and then this print function will be closed. So what we are doing here, we are simply printing it, and we are putting our own string to it. Now I will copy this once again. So enter this, and now total amount of properties sold. So you can put more meaningful sentences here. This is just an example how we can take input, and then so that we don't have to write date here again and again for getting data of different dates. We can get data of different dates by just running this program again and again. And here let's say for 4. So on this day no properties were sold, that's why we are getting 0. So this is simple thing that you can do with the help of datetime index. Now with the help of datetime index, getting data for any particular month is also possible. So first we have our df here, and in df we can choose data of any particular month also. Let's see how we can do that. Let's see, we want to select data of July 2019. So for that we can write like this. This is 07/2019. So you can see we have got the data for this particular month only, and you can see we have got 147 rows here. So earlier we got less number of rows because we selected a particular date, and now we selected a particular month. Let's try the same example and see whether we can get data for any particular year also. So just write name of year. So let's say we want data of year 2019. Now you will see that from 1st January 2019 to whatever last data we have, we will get all the data here. So 26/7/2019 is the last value here, and this is 1385 rows. So now you will understand the benefit of datetime index here, that when we set datetime index on any particular data frame, so with the help of this datetime index we can filter the data. You can see the data is in rows. Filtering of data on the basis of column is very easy, but filtering of data on the basis of row values is a bit difficult. And here by setting first by parsing date, So first we parse date as date because the name of our column having date is kept as date. The next thing is we are also setting index column as date. So by setting index column as date and making it our date type data, so you will get date time index here, and then by getting date time index we can either get value for a particular day, we can either get value for a particular month or set of months, and we can also get value for particular year also. We can also enter date in this format like df, and then you can write 26 July 2019. So then also you will get the data, what 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 properties were sold at this particular day. So this is one benefit of date time index. You can see that we can enter the dates in different type of formats. Suppose you want data of July 2019, so you will get July 2019. So you can now apply your queries this way also for filtering the data, and you can also apply your queries this way by writing the year, by writing the month number, and this is benefit of date time index in time series. The next thing is date range. Suppose we want data within a given range. So let's say we want data between this date and let's say 25 3. So we want data between 25 March 2019 to 25 July 2019. So you can write it this way, between a range. The same way that you use slicing in Python list or slicing in series, you can now write a starting date and an end date, and now you will see the data. So this is 1st May 2019, and then we have data up to, you can see, 25 July 2019. So you can see here one interesting thing, that in this case we are getting data of starting and end index both. So this is the difference. So this is how you can get data of a given range, and again you can enter this date in any format you want. You can write 25 March 2019 to 25 July 2019. So you can write in words also, the month name in words also, or the month name in numbers also. So this is how you can get data between a range with the help of date time index. Now next thing we can also do, we can plot some graphs also. So for example, let's say we want to select DF and then we want to select price here. So if you will select DF price, you will see that there are 2900 29,850 values here. So what I am going to do here, I will select top 50 values just to show you plot here, and then this will select top 50 values, and then I will use dot plot, and now you will see the graph here, that this is the plot. This is the price of top 50 values for different dates. And you can do one more thing here, and that thing is we can put kind is equal to area also. The kind is equal to, we have used kind is equal to line, we have used kind is equal to bar or bar plot. We can also use kind is equal to bar horizontal or bar horizontal plot, and we can also use area for area plot. We can also use pi. Conditions are different for different type of plots. I have discussed about pi also, But the thing is, whenever I will plot these graphs, I will tell you the condition. In this case, we can plot area also, and now you will see the area plot. The difference between line and area is only this, that in line we get the lines only, so we get the layer only. In area, that particular portion is covered. So for top 50 values, this is our area plot, and you can see that maximum property value is 1,70,000 or 175 17 lakh and 50,000 here. So you can now plot the data on the basis of this. We can also make it 150. This will take more values. You can now visualize the data in this manner, and we can also take 1,000. It's up to you how many values you want to take. So this is kind is equal to area. So in top, for top 50 the maximum price was different, and for top 1,000 the maximum price is different. So this is just another example, and we have used date time index here. The main thing to take from this chapter is use of date time index. And whenever you have to analyze data where you have date, and you want to filter data on the basis of date, you want to analyze, suppose it's a sales data, suppose you are working for some organization and you have sales data. So for every day how many sales were made, what was the sales amount, what were the order amount, and how many orders were made per day, then what was the gross total amount per day, total amount per month, total amount for that year, what was the total amount of profit or total amount of loss for that year. So things like that can be calculated with the help of date time index very easily.